Okay, here we are. Keith Giles, 11 Productions Racing, start of a new season. Gone down to Swamp Classic with teammates, with Scott and Hank and Mo, and of course Steven, who put all this together. Those Steven and Hank and Mo raced in the split Cat 5 Masters 35B field all weekend. And I raced with Scott right there, shown in our 11 Productions blue kit with his red Canyon, doing some good work right out of the gate in the split 3-4 field, scored separately. So this is the crit from on day 3. I'm sorry, race 3 on day 2. It's a very fun crit, fast crit. You can see in the upper right hand corner there of the screen. It's kind of like a D-shaped, and it's got sort of 2 sweeping turns, really 3 sweeping turns, and 1 kind of hard turn, which is turn 1. I guess turn 2 is not exactly sweeping, but not really hard either, because it opens up. Unlike turn 1, which is a sharp turn and you get half of the road, turn 2, as you see right here, is kind of sharp, but you can use the whole road, so it makes it a lot easier and a lot faster. So this is just the first lap, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. Now we're on the backside where there was a pretty heavy wind. This was the third race of an Omnium series, so a lot of these guys had done the time trial yesterday as well as the road race, so you got a lot of tired legs. It's kind of fun to do stuff like this when you see the same faces in a couple different races, guys you don't normally know. Got to meet a couple guys and chat with them briefly to hear where they're from, and I gotta say, this was a really great group of guys to race with. They were aggressive, they rode hard, our races were fast. I'm a guy who likes to get into breakaways and attack, and they kind of beat that out of me on the road race, which I'll make a video of that later. Just the overall strength of the field, you had to have, it kind of like took the wind out of my sails a little bit here we are on day 2. And I really didn't have a great strategy, coming in, neither did Scott or I. We just weren't sure how to react. Scott rode really aggressive today. I tried to be a little more conservative and just wait for something to happen at the end. But unfortunately, I sort of just found myself waiting and waiting and waiting, and nothing ever really materialized for me. But that's getting ahead of myself. So this is a race that can be kind of broken up into, I think, one attack and then a counter attack. And we jumped ahead to lap 8 here. There's about 16 laps to show you this initial attack, which doesn't look like much. Well, here we are. We're lap 8. We're roughly halfway into the race, and somebody goes off the front, and I kind of lost the sight of him, and I don't know who it was. And hopefully another video or another viewer might see it and be able to talk about it. But at this point, this was like you saw in the first lap, the guys were already going off the front. And brought back, and off the front and brought back. A lot of ping-ponging. So this didn't seem anything out of the ordinary, and that just goes to show in crit racing is you never know. So right now you can see up the front, there's 3 guys got a little bit of a gap. And again, I don't think anyone's really thinking much of this at this point, because this has already happened so many times. And I only know that this was significant in retrospect, because I've watched this race back. I've actually watched it forwards and backwards to try to figure out kind of exactly what happened. So I'm calling this little section of the race the initial break. So this was very common after we come out of that first turn for everybody to sit up. And I can't exactly see what happened, but you can see that one guy made it up the road. So I missed that. Unfortunately, I wasn't up there. And so this initial break, which just came out of that first turn, where everybody, just after the preem, everybody else slowed down, and one guy decided to keep riding hard. It's going to turn out that this is going to be very significant in the race, because what's going to happen is that break is not going to stick. So that's the punchline. That guy is not going to ride off into the sunset. But what is going to happen is, slowly but surely, people are going to bridge up to that break, making it bigger, which usually indicates that the break is going to actually stick. But it really was never far enough away where I think that was a huge danger. And so eventually, and it's going to take a lot of work, the group is going to bring this now larger gap, this larger break back. And there's going to then be a counter as soon as the field is all back together again. at the start of lap 14, and that's gonna be it. That's the winning break. So we're gonna get to that, but so what you're watching right now is that first guy went up the road like a carrot, and people are slowly joining him. And this is, we're halfway through. Nobody's panicked. Nobody's really rushing to get up there. But every now and then, people decide to go for it. And over the next few laps, what we see is, that starts to get people's attention. 2 or 3 up there, not only with about 8 laps to go. Nobody seems too concerned, but as the numbers grow, as you'd expect, people decide, okay, this is a threat now. And then also what happens is we get kind of intermediate groups that are between the main field and the intermediate chase groups that are between the main field and you see one of those forming right now. So there we got 3 more guys, one off the main field. There's my boy Scott at the front, doing all kinds of work. You can see we come out of that turn and it's always like 700 watts for me. So what I'm going to do here is this goes for a couple more laps, kind of like this, where there's maybe like a breakaway and then a smaller chase group up the road, and it's hard to see exactly what happens, but the field this is about as broken up as the field ever really gets. And then I'm going to skip ahead to when the chase that brings everybody back together, which then leads to the ultimate break. So it's always a counter. That's the take-home message. It's always a counterattack. All right, now we're going to skip ahead. Skipping ahead to lap 12. And this is kind of a fun little section right here, because what happens is the group is starting to get very motivated to bring these guys back together again. And I finally get off my ass and start doing some work. The guy in front of me right now was the GC leader because he won the time trial and the road race. So I actually was very interested in marking him and trying to stay with him. I figured he would make a move and I wanted to be with it. So he kind of disappointed me a little bit here when he did that. He slid over. I wanted him to bridge that gap, and I probably should have let him. But, I hadn't done a lot of work, and the group, I had a feeling that this could be something. So I did some good work here to try to catch these 3 guys that were chasing the actual break. And it's kind of strung out. I mean, it's not even like groups, but you can just see there's just people are kind of scattered up the road. And this kid's going to do some crazy swerves that, probably unnecessary in the Cat 3 race. But it's definitely cool looking when you watch it back. Nice corner there. And everybody is really getting after it. You can see, I was up around 400 watts coming out of that turn, staying over sustained efforts at like 340 to 390. And this is a guy, Dennis, from New Jersey that I met. Really nice guy who came down and did tons of hard work all 3 days, all 3 races, and he is going to do a hero pull basically to get everybody back together. But that hero pull, and this, I want you to remember, this all this nonsense that's going on right now, it stems from that one guy that went up the road and just stayed up there. He wasn't going to get away, but the fact that he stayed up there, it spurred all this other stuff to happen. And so you got the initial 2 or 3 guys that were with him, and then another 3 that decided to try to bridge, and now the rest of the field is getting bridged by Dennis. And now it's at this point when it becomes clear to me that we are going to all come back together. And so I do kind of slide over because I'm like, me and Dennis did a ton of work, and actually it was hard even just being on his wheel. And I kind of was like, someone else I'm going to slide back just a tad here. I don't need to be up here. And that's kind of weak. I probably should have just done more effort. I mean, I don't know what it was. I just did not ride. I was trying to ride smart, and really all I just did was ride weak. And I'm actually very upset with myself about how I performed this race. It was arguably one of my worst races, both effort-wise and tactical-wise I've ever had. I was happy with the road race yesterday, but not this one. All right, that just said 4 more to go. So the group's not quite back together again, but we're really close to getting back together. And so as soon as this group gets together, and it's going to happen shortly after this right-hand turn, Dennis is still hero pulling us back. And until as soon as the gap. This is perfect. Whoever the guys are that did this counter, bravo, because it's perfect. As soon as that big giant hero pull by Dennis, and I did a little bit of myself and 3 or 4 other guys, you can see all there, all working hard to bring everybody back together. As soon as that happens, you can see on the right side there's a guy with a white helmet and sort of a green, it looks like a green kit with white stripes. He's moving up on the far right, and there's a guy behind him that's moving up. He just accelerated, and then I lose him a little bit, and they must have picked somebody else that was already at the front. And you're going to watch when we go into turn 2, you're going to see them that they've created some distance. 1, 2, 3, and that's it. That's the winning break, just like that. All they did was counter. They waited until a break was brought back, and the whole group did a lot of work to do it, and they made a perfect counter move, and that counter move launched them. And here's what's interesting. They're really not that far up, but nobody's motivated to work. 4 or 5 of us just did a ton of work, Dennis in particular, and it's just the energy's gone from the group. They're just not willing to do it right now. You know, the guys who just did all that work really can't, and there's a lot of people sitting in here that didn't really do much and just aren't. So that group, look at that. They're pulling away now, and we're going 25 miles an hour, so it's not slow, but my heart rate's down to 130. I mean, it's just not that hard. I should have done more work. I mean, that's an indictment of me. But now we're on to the last 2 laps. Those 3 guys did stay away. So another guy named Dennis, the GC leader, he is going to attack, I think, coming up right here to try to make a bridge. He did the best he could. He waited a little bit too late. He may have done it already. I did kind of want to go with him, and I had a feeling he was going to do that, but I just missed it. You know, like I said, I just raced like crap today. I just missed turns. I missed opportunities and chances to do stuff, and it's because I was trying to ride conservative. I just don't work well like that. I need to ride more aggressive. So I think you missed it, but he went. That guy went up the road, and at this point, you know, here we go. We know we got 2 more laps, I think. Finish this one and then 1 more. So I missed my chance to be in what was ultimately the winning break. I missed my chance to follow the GC leader, who I knew was going to make an attempt to get up there. I mean, I just missed everything. And so at this point, I'm just trying to decide what I want to do. Now, there was definitely some sketchy riding. It wasn't terrible, but I just had a bad feeling about the sprint finish. And I wanted to be at the front. Now, ideally, I would have been 2nd or 3rd wheel, but I kind of get stuck not in that position. And so I don't even know what I was doing here. I had no plan. There's no plan. There's no thought. I just wanted to kind of ride hard, be at the front and ride hard. That was my plan. It's the worst plan ever. So you can see the GC leader is up the road. I'm at the front. This is hardly an attack. It's just more like a lead out. But don't forget, this isn't the final. It's not the final lap. Or maybe this is the final lap. No, it's not. So I don't know what I was doing here. I guess I just kind of got stuck on the front, and I was expecting people to come around. You know, you pull through, and I didn't want to bridge everybody up to him. And I don't know if I quite had it at 153 watts. I didn't really, or 153. I don't know. I should have attacked him. I should have attacked the peloton that is and tried to bridge up to him just for fun. Why I didn't do that, I'll never know. But it wasn't like we weren't going fast. It was hard because where it got fast, you had a real strong tendency to just bring fellas with you. But now we're on the last lap, and here I am. I've just been on the front way too long. Finally, some guys are coming around me, kind of waiting for that. So I was kind of hoping for like a more solid attack right there. Well, there, see, people just kind of sat up. The guy in front of Scott sat up. This military guy came through. He sat up. See, and this is people just when you get to the last lap and they realize you're not catching anybody. Nobody wants to be the one to do the work to bring that guy back. First of all, that's not even for first place. It's for like 4th place. And second of all, anyone who does this is gonna be out of it for the sprint. So there went an attack, and that I didn't have anything to. I wasn't able to hold his wheel. It looks like. That was a nice move. That was a really nice move. I mean, I don't really. It's funny. I don't even remember that happening. I don't even remember that guy coming through and getting away. And he was right there. I mean, why I didn't like throw down a larger effort to go get him? People just would not come around me. And at this point, I guess this was just a lead out. But you can see, it's not like I'm not trying. So at this point, I'm just thinking, well, try to hold a little back. Someone's going to come around you and just try to go with them because we're getting right to the very end here. And that's kind of what happened, but I just didn't have it. I was on the front for too long. So here we go. Let's look for Scott coming around on our right. These guys probably went too soon. Back. Got boxed in there. And that's it.